Hello and welcome, my Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your work, career, vocation read for November and December 2020. I'm your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, Venus in Libra sign, the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Hi, hello my leaves, my scales, how are you all? I hope you are well, my subscribers. Thank you for your love, support, your balance, your chill, your cool Libra cardinal airness of it all. I truly appreciate you all in my life, and thank you so much for helping my channel grow, because it is little by little, a couple more likes every day, making our way. And I know I've got a lot of Libra friends that have made through YouTube that once we are able to all hang out together, I'm going to make a trek across the country. We're just going to drive around and see you all and teach and do readings, and however that plays. Obviously not anytime real soon, but it's in that creative air stage, isn't it just? So thank you so much, right? We're shooting for that membership thing that we're going to have here eventually, right? 30,000 subscribers I got to get to have the membership thing, the join button, get access to the extended that I do, as well as private streams of this content that I can do on YouTube but can't do on YouTube outside of the membership thing, which, you know, we could get a little bit more into the tantric boogie oogie, right? You know what I'm saying? Talk more about that stuff, but we will get there eventually. So if you are new to my channel, it's your first time watching me, or maybe you've caught me before, and this video resonates with you in any way, shape, or form, just hit the thumbs up. Really appreciated, right? Like it. If you want more of me, subscribe. If you want to know when I upload and when I go live and all that stuff, we've got a podcast we just recorded today. That'll be coming out in the next day or so. We're not sure exactly what we're going to do, though. We're probably going to premiere it. Then absolutely hit the notification bell and feel free to comment. Let me know how this resonates with you. I'm actually going to Saratoga for a few days. To go visit my family, get my car serviced because I get it free, because that's where I bought it from up there, so I get free service, as well as to see my new little kitty brother. My mom got a little kitten, a Blue Point Himalayan, Giovanni, Jojo for short, and I have to wear him on my head like a mohawk, like every other cat that I've always had, at least for a split second, because tradition. You with me? Cool. So let's get up in this gig, and if you're new to my channel, again, do like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get up in this gig. This is a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Stay in the present moment. Follow your breath. What's happening not just in your mind during the reading, but in your energy field, particularly Libra. We're ruled by Venus, the heart. So there's the heart in there. Pay attention to what's going on emotionally, energetically as we do this. It's a 9-card read. 3 Carolyn Myss archetypes to look at the 3 levels of power: your work, your career, your vocation. I'll explain those in a minute. Then we'll look with Daughters of the Moon what's going on in the internal experience of those 3 levels of power: work, career, vocation, and mythic tarot on the outside, what it looks like, right? We have some idea what's going on in the physical, literal world within each 3. And we have a kitten. Hello, Melchior. I know it's almost dinner time. Let me finish this read. Cards even haven't hit the table yet, baby. If you can't see him, well, maybe you can see a little action down there. That's him. Go on, go. Graceful Taurus cat. Let's just get up in it. Follow your breath. Check your other signs. All that jazz. All the decks that I read are in the description box below. We've got some gymnastic activity in the house tonight with the cats. So let's get up in this gig, right? Work, career, vocation, 3 levels of power. Work, lower 3 chakras, what you do to survive. Career, your internal hunger, thirst, passion, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. Your career, your vocation, 8th chakra, spiritual calling, something calling you forth. It's all about your service and your life purpose, what we just call it, work, career, and vocation. Let's do this. Take a nice deep breath. I know if you're tired of the exposition, I am too, but you got to do it. Just can't drop people down in the middle of a reading without letting them know what they're getting into, at least not as a Virgo with Venus in Libra. So let's do this. My collective pantheons, I swear that connecting with them is worth all of it. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. I love you all so very much. Please, we need 3 cards in clarity using the Carolyn Myss archetype deck. What are the dominant archetypes within? There are 3 levels of power: work, career, vocation, from root chakra to 8th. For the Libra collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, signs in their work, career, vocation. I'll say it again, November, December 2020, please, for the dominant archetype, I hear you, the dominant archetype in their work, lower 3 chakras, how they survive. Their career, emotional, mental, passion, hunger, thirst, heart, throat, third eye, and crown, and that 8th chakra, their calling, that star beckoning them forward, their vocation, their spiritual power. November, December 2020, because if you learn to line these up, they will eventually, usually it's part of the spiritual path and all that, but think about 8th, crown, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacrum, root, from like all in alignment, work, career, and vocation lining up. Now, I only get paid for my career. That's teacher, healer, artist to an extent because I do this stuff, right? Reader. I don't get paid for my work. That's administrational. Drawing the circle president, setting up the lights, all that stuff. I don't get paid for that. And my vocation, I get paid in spiritual wealth and as a mystic. So you could say administrator, president, healer, artist, teacher, whatever, and mystic, right? So I've aligned those. It wasn't easy, but I got them all into alignment. Let's see what we've got here for the Libra collector, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, and the child archetype has been. Let's see. We had the wounded child archetype in the Taurus read in work. We had the eternal child in Gemini in their work position. We had the orphan child in Cancer in their vocation. And we have had the wounded child in the Virgo reading that I just did for the vocation as well. So here's another orphan child. And the orphan child, which like I said, also with the Cancerian. If you have any Cancerian placement, you might want to look at that. But everybody has a child archetype. It's just the sub-archetypes. Like I said, there's been the orphan, the wounded. Who else did we see here? The wounded child, the eternal child. There's the nature child, on and on and on. The magical child. The orphan child. I have the orphan child, though I was never literally orphaned. So I can relate to it and I can talk about it for hours because this is Batman, Bruce Wayne. This is Clark Kent. This is Harry Potter. This is Dorothy Gale. This is Bambi. This is... Pick a Disney character, aren't all of them orphans one way or another, right? So this is very, very interesting because the child archetype, regardless of sub-pattern, is the guardian, survival archetype. Everybody has a child archetype, a victim-victor archetype, a saboteur empower archetype, and a prostitute archetype. Those, stay away from the prostitute archetype. It's not on the table. We'll talk about it another time. Sacred Contracts, Carolyn Myss. If you're familiar with it, you know what I'm talking about. If not, I would highly recommend checking out her work in Sacred Contracts. The orphan child is the guardian, the sole power of how you survive with safety and innocence, right? If the child in you does not feel safe, it's going to freeze up. It's going to go into the shadow, right? But in its light, it is willing to see things with fresh eyes and move forward with innocence. The orphan child, though, is a very specific flavor. A lot of our myths and stories, even back to our deep mythology, are about orphans, right? The shadow attribute, feelings of abandonment that stifle maturation, seeks inappropriate surrogate families. So if in terms of the physical world, in terms of work, you can't get to work or your work abandoned you, which is happening to millions of people, it could be threatening your sense of safety and security, feeling neglected and abandoned. I could totally see how that could be playing itself on planet Earth in 2020. Particularly around the holidays. Oh God, no. Oh, no wonder. Oh, now I get why all the child archetypes are popping up. It's the holidays, which speaks to the innocence of our heart and our belief in miracles and joy and all that jazz. Well, the light attribute, though, is incredibly powerful. Like I said, Superman, right? Kal-El of Krypton here. Independence based on learning to go it alone and conquering the fear of surviving. I mean, it really is the hero's journey of the child into maturation, finding self-esteem, learning boundaries, the whole nine, but doing it on your own. Now, I will say, if you really have the orphan archetype, tribal dictate and politics doesn't really touch you the same way it does other people because you're not plugged in. It's a very root chakra thing. Orphan archetype in that sense. If you're not really, like, I'm just not tribal. Like, I'm a Virgo. I'm totally fine staying by myself, playing by myself, having friends over, and then when they're gone, I'm like, oh my God, my house again, right? It's just how I'm wired that way, archetypally speaking. There's immense power here. Immense, just immense in terms of your physical survival. So it's interesting that it does show up in the survival family. How do you survive, right? Survival intuition. In your creative intuition, second level of power, your career, you've got the goddess energy. Now, not a divine family archetype, but a feminine family archetype. And if you look at this as the yang, the external, the masculine, this is the yin, the internal, the feminine. The goddess archetype here, very Venus, I'm getting, obviously. Boys, oh, they've got a scratching box over there. I took a big cardboard box and put their scratchy things on it, so I don't have cardboard all over those. It's like a little gym in there for them. Mother that I am, goddess that I am. The shadow attribute, exploitation of the female nature and form. Now, exploitation is a very intense word for the shadow power here, particularly because this is the world behind your eyes, right? Heart, third eye, and crown. So exploiting your own feminine nature. Now, it does say exploitation of the female nature and form, but if you're a male and this is in here, it might be about exploiting something about your heart, throat, third eye, and crown that does not feel good. But the light here, the light attribute, the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. There's a lot going on here inside of you, Libras. Remember, you're ruled by Venus, as is Taurus, but there is that strong urge to, what I'm feeling in the shadow here is to use your womanly wiles in ways that are exploitative of yourself or others, or to seduce. Like, what is the shadow side of feminine energy? It's manipulation, it's deception, it's behind the scenes. It's really what people think witches are doing all the time. Like, we're just hexing you when we're not looking. Well, to each their own. Comes around sooner or later. But this is intensely powerful. Think Marilyn Monroe, right? I mean, how many other people can we think of with that archetype in that stature in our modern day? Other than maybe celebrity, I mean, James Manfield, Bill, I mean, these are all like blonde women, right? Very Aphrodite. But whatever the goddess archetype is inside of you, maybe you're being influenced by one in your career somehow, but then it's influencing you heart, throat, third eye, and crown. And this isn't just about connecting with the goddess in terms of drawing down the moon or something like that. I mean, maybe if that's your practice as a Libra, I get it. But this is saying there is immense divine feminine power within you. The power of, by the way, nature, life force, and sensuality, wisdom here. Through your own experience of the goddess in some way, shape, or form. That's a mystery to me. I'll tell you that, although my experience with the goddess in the heart, third eye, and crown, that's daily, but that's me. Do I see myself here? Yes, I have the orphan archetype. I am Venus and Libra. Oh, and girl, we got the prostitute archetype. See, remember I said we'll talk about the archetype another time. We're talking about it right now. Prostitute archetype is another survival archetype. Everybody has it. Let me read it to you. You'll see what I mean. It's not about being a hooker. Okay, maybe a small percentage of it is, right? The shadow attribute places material considerations and security above self-empowerment. Like, instead of empowering yourself, it's like, you know what? The money's good. Let me just stay here. Did you ever stay with a job you know wasn't right for you, but the money was good? Or the people were really toxic, but you're getting a paycheck, like that kind of thing, which in a vocation sense doesn't really make sense right in this moment, but you kind of get that vibe. It is a survival family archetype, one of the four. The trunk of the tree through which all other archetypes grow from. If those four are stable and healthy, the others can flourish. The light attribute, and I think this is where we're getting into the crown chakra stuff, honestly, accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. That means you're truthful, you're honorable, you're accountable, right? You're in alignment with your highest qualities that you can access at the time to the best of your ability. Look, nobody nails the dismount 24/7, 365. But chances are, look, I'm just going to put this together as I see it, right? With this orphan child, if you're in unhealthy surrogate families, please, Lord knows I had my share of them in this life, right? Till you learn to go alone on your own, there can be all sorts of opportunities to prostitute yourself in terms of your own feminine energy. Not just your feminine energy, your goddess energy. Like, I would really say to you, if you have the goddess archetype, which goddess? Which goddess? Hecate, the witch goddess, right? Or is it Demeter? Or is it Aphrodite? I would say, archetypally speaking, zodiacally speaking, being more towards Aphrodite. Sweet and flighty runs around and see if you're not even this is a work, career, vocation reading. The prostitute archetype, right? I get it. I just don't think that's what this is about. I think this is about, well, the prostitute archetype. I'm hearing Carolyn Myss in my head. Hey, Belky, lay down, sweetheart. No, don't headbug do not headbonk the tripod. No. Lay down, sweetheart. Motherhood. Do you want to come sit with Mama? Come here, my base. Come here. Oh, my medicine ball. Here he is. Come here, baby. He'll jump down in a second. That this orphan child, right? If it's dealing with, okay, surrogate families, like hanging out with, people you shouldn't be hanging out with, as an orphan will do, then the temptations here, the prostitute archetype, it's the guardian of faith and comfort. Right? Will you compromise your faith in yourself, your faith in your path, your faith in the plan, your faith in your own creativity for comfort? Let's keep going. Right? It's tricky, but you got two survival archetypes and a feminine family archetype, so that's interesting. That's very interesting for a Libra. Let's keep going. Daughters of the Moon. What's going on inside for the Libra collective? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. And then this is really more the yin stuff, the stuff that you might not want to look at within yourself, but you certainly don't want anybody else to know about. And if you do share it, it's probably because you feel safe too with that orphan child. Let's have a look. Breathe. Oh, my goddesses of air and the sign of Libra, Aphrodite, my beloved matron for this year, who will always be with me, but I will switch. You will hand me off to another goddess at Yule. It has been a lovely year, and I thought we were going to get laid a hell of a lot more than we did, but 2020 and all. So please, my beloved goddesses of air and the sign of Libra, one card in clarity. What's going on with the Libra collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, in their work, career, and vocation, in their work with that child orphan? What's going on the inside there? What's the internal experience with the goddess archetype in their interior world, heart, third eye, and crown? And for that prostitute archetype here, who is this story? Who is this story of the orphan child with the goddess and the prostitute all as one? I can't remember who that is. If it comes to me, I'll mention it. Okay. It's called Archetypal Download. Let's see what's going on inside here. All right. Well, that does make sense. Okay. Well, for this orphan child, right now, in terms of your work, there's the Aquarian card. Now, there might actually be an Aquarius person or that Aquarian 11th house. Come on, interact with the world. Come see the world. See things. See the bigger picture, right? It's the freaks of the zodiac. I love the Aquarians. I was just texting one before, a dear friend of mine, right? So seeing things from that higher point of view, but certainly 11th house is humanitarian, egalitarianism, right? We've got the eagle woman here, shell, right? Flying above it all, flying with scissors. I mean, forget about running with scissors. How about flying with scissors? Orphan child, right? So there's something going on inside of you, calling you higher up. And I would say into the 8th chakra, but at least to see in terms of your work right now, to interact, like there's this perhaps this urge to interact with the world. The Aquarian's energy is very much the internet, right? So maybe reaching out through the internet, but that would be external. This is more internal. Really get in touch with the friendly part of that orphan on its journey. If this is your read, just be like, all right, we're on an adventure, Harry Potter, off to Hogwarts. Here we go to see the larger world and to interact with it. Because 11th house is interaction with the world. Not just communications, but humanitarianism, groups, allies, causes, right? Will this be an orphan child with or without a cause? Well, it feels like they're going to find it. And it feels like in the physical world, they're sort of taking it all in if they can get that higher perspective inside of themselves. For the career, you've got the goddess with another court card, 2 court cards. This is the Cancerian card, my darling. It says right on it, the word Cancer. This would be the King of Cups, but here, the Mother of Cups, the Mermaid, Namu. That the depth of emotion here for you, be careful of exploiting your emotion here or using it in a way that makes you compromise the truth of who you are. You might be getting very strong, like, all right, I hear that, right? The feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. How much of that is your own interior sense of guidance, your own equilibrium, your sense of intuition, your creative intuition? To be pregnant, maybe, in a sense, with a creative process, right, that is germinating right now with emotional maturity and wisdom. I feel like inside of you, you have what it takes. You, and whether you're a Cancer, anything, it doesn't matter. It's talking about that durability, that creativity, that cardinal water, like amniotic fluid. That's maybe a bit on the nose if some of you are pregnant or trying to be. But either way, we're looking at a very, very intuitive, emotional thing going on here for whoever is watching this, if this is indeed your reading. But just be careful of that shadow of exploiting yourself in a way that would damage your own heart. Now, you'll heal from it eventually if that is already said and done, but my sense of it is it's all about that exploitation, particularly the feminine nature, which can be vulnerable and receptive and sweet and nurturing. Well, like a crab, like a Cancerian, everything's edible on the inside pretty much, but it's all pinchy on the outside. Good. Have your boundaries, my darlings, because with this prostitute archetype, you have got the Ace of Flames, the Ace of Wands, creation, a new inspiration coming in, and one that might very well test your faith, to exploit yourself, right? To exploit your own emotions, your own intuition in a way that does not resonate with the truth of your soul, but nonetheless, the orphan child in you might be swayable in that way, right? So to really keep an eye on what are your principles in terms of interacting with the outside world. Look, the orphan child can feel very lonely and can be tempted anywhere with the proper candy, so to speak. Come on, join our thing. Oh my God, I just got pyramid scheme. Ugh, avoid them like the plague. They never work out unless you get in early, and even then they're fucking illegal. Yes, I went there once, but I was a teen. I think I'm allowed to make that mistake early on in the 80s, right? No credit cards were involved. It's just a very, very interesting thing. Yes, they existed before the internet. Can you imagine? The ultimate pyramid scheme. Egypt. Yeah, took a lot of people building that one. Oy. Look, this is a very, very dynamic reading, but there are a lot of people involved here. Yes, because of the court cards here, but because of that orphan child feeling pulled back to interact with the world, has to deal with other people, right? And trying to do it in a friendly way is definitely tantamount here in terms of your work in the world. Even be diplomatic. Maybe not philanthropic is the world, but philosophical, perhaps. What is your philosophy of other people? Is it do it to them before they do it to you, like the orphan child in its shadow would be? Or is it that, hey, life is a highway, I'm going to ride it all night long, right? We're going to see where this thing goes. Mythic Tarot, what's going on the outside? Let's ask the gods of air. Breathe. Yes, my gods of Libra and the gods of air, Eros in particular, please, though this is a work, career, and vocation reading, I ask for 3 cards in clarity. What's going on in the divine masculine aspect of this, the outside, the yang force? What does this all look like from the outside for this Libra collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign in their work, career, vocation, November and December 2020, please? They have got the orphan child in their work with the Aquarian card. What does that look like? On the outside, they've got the goddess archetype in their heart, throat, third eye, and crown, right? Their career, that internal alchemy of ideas into form eventually. And what is, yeah, I get that. What's going on in their 8th chakra there? What does that look like on the outside with this prostitute? Really, 2 survival family archetypes at the beginning and at the end, so to speak. The 8th chakra all the way to the roots. Something survival based here for you, Libras. So with that Ace of Wands, that inspiration, that new creation coming in, that new passion perhaps. What's going on in the yang force, the outside? What does this look like from the outside? Oh, well. Your honor code is going to play a big role because look, the orphan child with Ixchel, the Aquarian thing on the inside, is getting a message. Ace of Blades. It could be a good idea. It could be their own, but my sense of it, well, it very well could be their own. They've got 2 aces here. But this would be trying to implement it through perhaps social networking, right? Connecting with other people if this is cause driven, right? Raise money for this, help support that. It totally could be, although there's another archetype for that, which is the Advocate, which is action family of archetype. But this is really coming then. This is part of this child's journey of maturation in some way, right? Interesting. Stick a pin in that. We'll come back to that. Because with the goddess with the Cancerian card, you got the 7 of Blades. There's something tricky, sneaky. Like that thing of really check and see if you are being exploited for something inside of you that really speaks of your honor and dignity as a female, biologically, or as a feminine energy, as an intuitive soul, as someone who's, well, a child of the goddess is the word that comes, but we all are, right? We all are the children of Mother, Father, God, whatever you want to call it, Mother Box, Father Box, Young Justice. But very emotional here. I'm just wondering if there is deceit going on outside of you now in terms of your career, or things are just hidden, but it feels like there's a sneaky going on. And it's either you, sneaky, maybe protecting yourself, right, from being exploited, maybe kind of like, think my way out of here. Definitely a strategy in play. You need to be aware of that. You follow your intuition, follow your gut, follow that goddess guidance inside of you that says something's off here, right? Check on that child in your gut. If it's like, it's either fear or it's intuition. It might feel like both, especially with that orphan child in your gut. That's what I'm saying. You want all 3 of these archetypes to cooperate with each other, and they will. It just takes some practice, because look, y'all are very defensive on the outside. You've got that 9 of Wands, in other words, prostitute, the survival thing, this new inspiration comes in, but on the outside, there's another interpretation they're giving me here. It's like, yes, this is the Argo, as in Jason and the Argonauts, stuck on the reef, about to land with the Golden Fleece, with the whole saga, the whole journey, the whole quest was about, but they can't quite make it there. They just can't make it over that last boundary into port, but they will. They just have to wait until the tide, right? So maybe there is something here about feeling defensive, about the prostitute archetype inside of you, which in its light side is about faith and trust. And it doesn't matter what it takes. I'm not compromising my self-esteem for ... I have faith in myself. I have faith in the process, right? Very 8th chakra stuff here, but that it's going to take a little bit more time, or that you are defending that. Maybe not sharing your inspirations that you have because you sense that there is a possible exploitation here of your creative, intuitive, feminine energy, female nature, wisdom, something or other involved in this, which of course, if you are an orphan archetype in an industry, in the work field, right? Trying to be friendly, feeling, doing, seeing the larger picture, and willing to communicate, willing to start something in the physical world, then it would make sense that these 3 things you are dealing with surviving in this world, both spiritually and physically. But the real alchemical part here, I think, is this. Your own intuition, your own wisdom, your own feminine energy. And if you're a guy, that's hard to come into contact with unless you were raised kind of feeling that and dealing with that. From the crown chakra down then, may the Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, that the prostitute archetype within them, active in the 8th chakra, receives and holds and protects that inspiration, their next piece of guidance and grace that may not have come down into thoughts and words yet hovering over the head, but that as it does, it comes in, and the goddess energy within them is able to nurture and mold and wisely shape what's going on in their heart, third eye, and crown, following the divine power of their own heart, but also listening to feel. Are they feeling exploited? Are they keeping themselves secret and safe? Are they deliberately protecting themselves through camouflage, through appearing to be one thing for another. Yes, a deception, but like a natural camouflage in terms of, nope, nothing going on here at all, folks. Sorry, folks, park's closed. Moose outside tell ya? So that they can really take this journey in physical into a new world. Totally feels like into a new world here, seeing the larger picture with hope hopefully alive inside of them as they communicate and receive communications about their work online, connecting with the world in a whole new way, perhaps for them, but in a way that they feel must summon up the power to take that journey, to set their boundaries, to trust their own gut and their own intuition, to manifest whatever this inspiration is into their communications and into their physical world for their well-being and for the well-being of all. So mote it be. And so it is, because you never know, one inspired thing can change the world. The slinky. Well, it does walk downstairs alone or in pairs and make that slinkety sound, which so do I when I haven't had enough sleep, but that's a podcast for another day. Thank you so much for watching my Libra Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Always a pleasure doing these readings. I like the work, career, vocation reads, and this one, again, with those orphan energies going on, sorry, the child energies in these readings, it does make sense. So mother yourself, support yourself, care for yourself, and by all means, get up in that 8th chakra when you can and listen to that ace of fire there just awaiting for you to bring it down through the chakric system into form for the well-being of all. Anyway, I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the thumbs up. If you want more, subscribe. Comment, how is this playing out for you? Particularly, how are you the goddess in this? I'd be very interested to hear that feedback for sure. Otherwise, wishing you all the very best and the very blessed in your work, career, vocation, November, December 2020. Darling, you know Mama loves you. Hail, farewell, and blessed.